Recently, the Bering Sea has become a hotspot for military activities between the US, China, and Russia. China and Russia are strengthening their presence in the Bering Sea, focusing on a vital Arctic shipping route connecting the two nations. As global temperatures rise and ice melts, this once inaccessible passage is becoming a critical strategic asset. This new route, made accessible by melting ice, offers faster trade between Asia and Europe, bypassing longer and more congested routes through the South China Sea, Indian Ocean, Red Sea, and Suez Canal. These regions represent choke points that could be closed to the Chinese fleet in the event of a conflict between the US and China. With the Arctic route, trade routes that once took 35 days via the Suez Canal could now be shortened to less than 20 days, providing a significant strategic and economic advantage to both China and Russia. However, the importance of this route goes beyond trade. Securing control over the Arctic's resources, particularly its untapped reserves of oil and natural gas, is another reason for the heightened tensions. Russia, which has the largest Arctic coastline, has been particularly active in developing its energy resources in the region. In fact, Russia is on the verge of launching its massive Arctic LNG-2 project. After months of standby, a Shadow Fleet LNG carrier has approached the plant, signaling the impending start of LNG exports from this key facility.
Another ship will come alongside and then spend a couple of days just transferring the cargo from one to the other.
The launch of Arctic LNG-2 would be a significant milestone for the Kremlin in its ongoing energy war against the US and the European Union. To further bolster its Arctic energy ambitions, Russia plans to implement ship-to-ship transfers of liquefied natural gas, LNG, and gas condensate in the Barents and Bering Seas. This move is designed to alleviate pressure on its limited fleet of ice-class tankers. These transfers will support Novatek, Russia's largest LNG producer, which has been advancing its Arctic LNG-2 project despite Western sanctions that have restricted access to tankers needed for transporting LNG along the Northern Sea route to Asian markets. Starting from March 2025, Russian LNG loadings will be banned in EU ports, making these alternative transport solutions even more critical. As Reuters reports, the first ship-to-ship transfer area will be established near Chosha Bay in the Barents Sea, followed by a second facility in Kresta Bay in the Bering Sea. These transfers, which can only take place under favorable ice conditions, will have the capacity to load 4.1 million cubic meters of LNG and 1.4 million cubic meters of gas condensate annually at each site. The US has responded to these developments with growing concern. Recently, it intercepted Chinese and Russian ships near Alaska, signaling fears about increasing military cooperation between the two powers in the region. In September, a Russian Su-35 jet confronted a US aircraft over the Bering Sea, further escalating tensions. Control over the Northern Sea route isn't just about reducing shipping times, it's about gaining access to the Arctic's vast natural resources, further fueling the power struggle between these nations.